I've audited over 500 sales reps, and the number one reason why they miss quota isn't the offer or the objections. It's actually their lack of follow up. Not just follow up frequency, but follow up psychology. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to build a follow up system that converts quiet leads into closed deals without relying on spammy automation, fake scarcity, or recycled email templates. And make sure you stay towards the end because I'm also going to give you my 3 message sequence that brought a 40K deal back to life after 11 days of complete silence. This follow up system is going to be broken into 3 parts. Number one is follow up frequency. How often is too much? Number two is going to be follow up framing. What do you say when people do things like ghost you? And finally, follow up tracking. How to know when to stop or when to escalate. Let's go ahead and dive in and break these down. So, point number one, frequency. The real problem isn't timing, it's energy. And the reality is that most reps follow up like beggars. They say things like, just checking in, which is dead, doesn't work, and wanted to circle back, which is also dead and doesn't work. The real problem isn't necessarily how often you follow up, but it's what kind of energy are you using while you are following up. That's a very, very key difference. Now, you want to use things called pattern interrupts. You don't want to be like everyone else who is just sending out these corny emails. You want to do things creative, like using Looms for screen recording, sending voice notes, or any other version of short videos that you can actually send out to your pipeline and prospects. It is super important that you have at least 3 to 4 touch points within the first 5 days. And remember, if you're only emailing 5 times and you haven't changed the tone of the things we just discussed even once, then it's already over. You're already like everybody else, and you're not going to get the responses that you're going to want so that you can actually close deals. Now, we covered frequency, but frequency is useless if your framing is completely off, which leads us to point number two, framing. You are not chasing, you are only filtering. A lot of founders and sales reps actually kill their pipeline by trying to win them back instead of just reasserting control. Your follow up should actually continue the same exact frame that you had on the previous call instead of abandoning the frame altogether. For example, we talk on the show a lot about the qualify frame. So we want to make sure that we're modeling that even after the first contact to make sure that we're always qualifying, not being needy, and making sure that they are the right fit for the offer. Hold that frame till the very end. Here are some examples that you can use and leverage to be able to use a frame for follow up. Saying things like, hey, based on where we left off, I just want to make sure that this still makes sense for you. Otherwise, we can close the file and I'll free up the spot. Notice how this tone is still kind of qualifying, but also not being needy. Another one is, hey, here's a quick update on some changes since we last spoke. You actually may want to see this. And then you can insert a Loom, a voice note, or some kind of short video. And finally, as a last resort, you can always say, hey, no pressure either way. Just wanted to wrap up this loop in case you're not moving forward. So now I'm going to give you the exact 3 message sequence that I used to revive that 40K deal that was silent for about 11 days. And it goes like this. Message number one is actually a pattern interrupt. You can tweak this however you see fit. It goes, hey, quick update. A few clients actually just onboarded in your same vertical, and I think you'll want to see what changed since we last spoke. Then a Loom video is attached, walking through whatever case study you have. And this could be anywhere from 52 seconds to a minute and a half. It's not going to make or break you. Just make sure you have a solid video that you're attaching to the message. Message number two is what I call a soft exit. It goes, totally cool if you're not moving forward. I just wanted to leave this loop open on my end, or should I go ahead and close the file? Again, notice how we're kind of pulling back. We're not chasing them. We're doing a little bit of a soft exit, showing them that we're not being needy and that if we have to close this out, we will. And finally, message number three, this is what I call escalation with a certainty frame. And it goes, wanted to share this before closing out. We don't usually reopen slots like this, but timing here could be clutch if we're aligned. And again, reattach Loom with a clear CTA. Notice how in all three of these messages, we're still holding the same frame, qualifying. We're not being needy. We're not being desperate. We're using strategic energy over frequency. Now, putting in the reps and frequency and touch points, of course, are important, but you never want to lower your status when following up. You want to always make sure when you're sending somebody something in follow up, it's something of value or an update on a big change that they will also see as valuable. Now, what was the result of this? They actually rebooked 3 hours later after seeing that third and final message, and the deal closed that same very day. And I want to give you one final bonus here that you can use that I love to leverage at the end of all of my sales calls. If you ever have a prospect who is on the fence and you just can't get over the objection of them having to think about it or timing's off or talking to a partner, you've tried and done everything that you could, and you want to end it on a good note to where you're not having to chase them or be salesy, I like to always ask them, hey, in the meantime, is it okay if I just keep you in the loop on any changes that we have or any client wins that maybe come up, just so that you can see what's going on, any changes. And honestly, my goal with this is to shower you with as much fear of missing out as humanly possible so that you will literally feel silly for not wanting to go and work with us. Is that cool? Now, I always say this in like a joking tone, and they're always like, oh, yeah, that's funny. But here's the thing, they don't actually believe that I'm going to do it. And I do. And whenever you go, think about it. If you just had a conversation with somebody on day one and 2 weeks goes by, what do you think is going through that prospect's mind when you get 3 messages of client testimonials? Not just testimonials, but people who actually said yes after that prospect. Think about how grueling and gut wrenching that is in terms of fear of missing out, knowing that they procrastinated, they didn't take action. And here is someone who took action after them and they are winning and getting results. If you make that your baseline and you just continuously do that every time you get a client win, it's going to make your job for follow up and your team's job for follow up significantly easier. And you're never going to feel needy. It's literally just giving value when something new comes out, talking about a new process that one of your clients and testimonials use, and they get to see those results. And bonus points if you can actually tie the results into whatever the objection was. So if you have a client testimonial that was in their exact same shoes, like the same vertical, and you can send that out to just those people, it's going to resonate 10 times better with that prospect compared to just sending it out to your list. Do you have to do this? Of course not. But obviously, the more specific you can be, the better it's going to be for follow up. But now here's the truth. You can't scale all of that if you're not actually tracking it accurately, which leads to point 3, tracking, the dashboard that predicts conversions. If you don't know where the lead is in your follow-up cycle, then you cannot coach your reps or even yourself properly. Great follow-up flows are visible, accountable, and data-driven. So here's what you can do. You can either use a simple sheet or whatever CRM you have in your organization. You're going to want to view things with this sheet or CRM like, when was the last touch point? What channel did this lead actually come from? What stage in the pipeline are they at currently? And what is the actual outcome goal? Is it replies, rebooking, or close? You're going to want to run what I call stuck deal reviews weekly with your entire team. And earlier on this podcast, I mentioned some escalation, right? There's 3 escalation levels. Number 1 is normal follow-up. Number 2 is soft close file, mentioned in the message, right? Takeaway, soft close. And number 3 is called a loop breaker. This is where you use a voice note or a CTA with some kind of micro urgency. Now, I want you to remember why this matters. Follow-up isn't a task. It's a diagnostic tool. When this is done right, it actually tells you whether your pitch is weak, your framing is off, or if your buyer just isn't qualified. And the good news is that fixing it is actually the fastest way to increase your monthly revenue without changing your leads, your ads, or even your price point. This is the Sell for Scale show. If you're building a sales team or B2B offer that thrives on trust not tricks, then make sure you subscribe to the channel or the podcast. If this resonated with you, then make sure you go back to episode 1 of the show. This is where I break down the inception closing system. It is the foundation for framing every conversation, so follow-up will become a filter and not a fight. My name is Dylan Starr, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode.